Hello everyone. Today I'd like to talk about a very important topic. Have you ever wondered about the causes of fatal illnesses? Have you ever considered that there might be much more to it than simple biology? As mainstream medicine tries to tell us, what if the roots of these illnesses go far deeper into our consciousness and trigger cause and effect relationships that aren't only about physical failure or poor ecology? For some, this might sound incredible, but what if a fatal illness is actually a certain built-in mechanism of self-destruction in the body? Today, we'll look at which internal processes and which factors within ourselves might launch these self-destruct signals. We'll talk about the significant role that false beliefs and negative programs have in triggering these harmful processes, and what stands in our way of living a healthy, happy life. I'm glad to welcome you to this important conversation. We'll be examining a new angle on illness, not so much as a purely physical problem, but by digging into the root cause that extends into our consciousness, into the deepest part of our subconscious. That's where, throughout our lives, false beliefs, connections, and programs take hold, siphoning our energy and leading to major breakdowns in the system. That might sound scary, but there is some good news. Each of us can rewrite any such scenario in our life, and we can also govern all the systems and processes in our body, including those that affect our health. That's what we'll discuss today. In this video, you'll find out how thoughts and emotions can create illness, why negative connections and programs drain us, and crucially, what to do about it so you can regain your health and vitality. Let's go step by step. We often hear phrases like listen to your inner voice or listen to yourself. But I want to clarify that it's not always necessary to believe everything going on in your head. There's a big difference between listening to your inner self and believing every last thought that churns in your mind. Because the majority of our passing thoughts revolve around negative scenarios, convincing us that nothing will work out, that we must jump higher than we can, that we'll get enough sleep in the next world, that we need to do everything at once. Our internal dialogue is often managed by these false attitudes and negative programs, which usher us into negative scenarios and drive our entire body system to exhaustion. We become like a hamster in a wheel, endlessly running, losing energy in this matrix. Or Wheel of Samsara. The road never seems to end. Some minor pit stops happen, but we're quickly forced to sprint again. And very few of us ever pause to ask, why am I running? What's driving me? Why am I listening to all these external forces telling me to keep running? At this point, you might wonder what this has to do with fatal illnesses. Well, as we follow these instructions, running after what the world says we need, our real personal goals are left unheard. This can trigger self-destructive processes in the body. Society emphasizes superficial wants, so-called narcissistic marketing, telling you that everyone should have a Ferrari or a Prada bag or you're worthless. Many chase these illusions, never asking, do I truly need this? Over time, you're not fulfilling your real internal desires, and fatal illnesses can arise from ignoring what your true self needs. Let me give a few real-life examples. Recently, in a big stream we had at my Sunny Club, I discussed psychosomatics. We went over quite a few stories about life-threatening illnesses, cancer specifically, and how they relate to unhealed emotional and psychological issues. I'll focus on cancer because I've encountered a number of cancer cases that strongly suggested a psychosomatic element. One case, a girl develops the exact same diagnosis as her mother, involving the same affected organ with the same severity. When I looked at her situation, I saw that she was the unloved daughter in the family. The mother openly favored the other kids and disliked her. The girl grew up longing desperately for her mother's acceptance. That desperate need eventually materialized in her body as this identical cancer in a subconscious attempt to elicit sympathy from her mother. The tragedy is that it still didn't bring her the acceptance she craved. Another example, a young man likewise got the same cancer as his father in the same place. His father had always branded him as failure, and in adulthood, He'd been trying to please his parents. Subconsciously, the cancer was an attempt to mirror his father's ailment, so maybe Dad would finally empathize. But again, it didn't produce that acceptance. Of course, this same dynamic could be true for other diseases, not just cancer. Science calls it the Chicago 7, a cluster of diseases strongly linked to psychosomatic factors, and diabetes is now being added to that list. We can't discard biology or ecology, but we also can't ignore the deep psychological ties. Additionally, I've seen people refuse to accept a fatal diagnosis, like elevated tumor markers, and after a deep internal shift they retested with no sign of cancer. In the Sunny Club, there was a vivid example of someone who, after focusing on core issues, retook the test and was cleared. Another case involves someone who discovered a growth that doctors said could evolve into cancer. She insisted, "I don't accept this scenario," and the problem vanished on its own. The doctors were baffled. I'm not saying you can wave a magic wand. I'm saying there are genuine cases where conscious intention, coupled with in-depth self-work, can reverse conditions previously deemed fatal. Because a fatal illness can also be a choice, albeit an unconscious one, born of unsatisfied needs and deep-rooted negative beliefs. Let me share one more story. A woman, upon retirement at 55, was still healthy and spry, but she believed that retirement equals "you are now old, so you must grow sick and die." She literally put on a headscarf and prepared for death. Within 2 years, she was gone, burned out by a fast-growing brain tumor. It's heartbreaking, but she'd made an internal choice to be done with life. So my main point is, instead of running like a squirrel in a wheel, where you might never reach that carrot and eventually conclude you're worthless, you can choose a different path. That path requires stepping out of the wheel, ignoring what everyone else is doing and asking, what do I really want? Which inner processes motivate me? What am I trying to gain from my loved ones or from life? How do I see myself in this world? That means truly hearing your own inner voice rather than all those external mantras that claim to know better than you do about your needs. It means choosing yourself, choosing your true aspirations, feelings, desires, rather than the illusions society peddles. And once you make that choice, you can start noticing your false beliefs and negative programs which have only been harming you. Because as soon as you do that, you can release them. You can become the master of your life. I love you all. You become the master of your own life. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share my channel. Become a member of my Telegram channel and discuss with like-minded people as a supporting club member.